Now, here's a question I have for the class. We got MLK, we got Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. You heard that. Never miss an opportunity to yell Hussein. MLK, Barack Hussein Obama, and the Washington Commanders name change. What do those things have in common? What do those things have in common? Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week, where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we could build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Today's nominee, hey, you got to change that. Now, it still says Trump and the Trump administration, because we giving them out of, oh, we getting another one? Oh, I'm here for that. All right, let's do it. Donald Trump. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, Donald Trump has been conducting the worst distraction campaign since Jada Pinkett. It's bad.
Breaking late this afternoon, brand new bombshell reporting from the Wall Street Journal that might explain why Donald Trump appears so anxious and frankly flat-footed when it comes to releasing documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal citing senior administration officials in its reporting that when Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a, quote, truckload of documents related to Epstein earlier this year, they discovered Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times. From that report, quote, in May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the Epstein files, the official said. Many other high-profile figures were also named, Trump was told. Being mentioned in the records isn't a sign of wrongdoing. The officials said it was a routine briefing that covered a number of topics and that Trump's appearance in the documents wasn't the focus. Now, in response to this reporting in the Wall Street Journal, the White House has issued a statement to NBC News that reads, quote, the fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. This is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media, just like the Obama-Russiagate scandal, which President Trump was right about, end quote.
Just in the past week, we've gotten the MLK files. Today, after nearly 60 years of questions surrounding the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we are releasing 230,000 MLK assassination files available now at archives.gov/MLK. The documents include details about the FBI's investigation into the assassination of MLK, discussion of potential leads, internal FBI memos detailing the progress of the case, information about James Earl Ray's former cellmate who stated he discussed with Ray an alleged assassination plot, and more. Now, typically, I am all for transparency, especially in cases where it involves some conspiracies involving three-letter agencies. That said, I also take note of Donald Trump's consistent and thorough attempts to sully Dr. King's legacy, which is what we know this is mostly about, also about the distraction method in campaign. And that part of it, sullying Dr. King's legacy, that's really going to upset the MAGAs. Because who are they going to misrepresent and misquote if you take Dr. King away from them? Matter of fact, Tim Scott, hey, come look at this.
The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror. We are living Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream.
Do you think Tim Scott knew then that he was going to be stuck working to get other senators elected? with no VP, no cabinet position whatsoever. Just went through all that whole song and dance. You think he knew? He actually was right about it, him living Dr. King's dream, because Tim Scott embarrassed like that probably would have been Dr. King's dream. Let's be honest about that. But the other part of it that is significant to note here is the stance of the family. While we support transparency and historical accountability, we object to any attacks on our father's legacy or attempts to weaponize it to spread falsehoods. We strongly condemn any attempts to misuse these documents in ways intended to undermine our father's legacy and the significant achievements of the movement. Those who promote the fruit of the FBI's surveillance will unknowingly align themselves with an ongoing campaign to degrade our father and the civil rights movement. Now, in addition to the joint statement, she also posted this. Now do the Epstein files. I don't know that I've seen a perfect tweet before. That is a perfect tweet. That is exactly how this was received as well. Thanks for coming. Try again. Not even Nick Fuentes was buying this.
And now 10 years into this, we get, oh, Epstein's, that's all fake. Here's the MLK files that you wanted. And you go, really? Fuck you. Really? You bury the Epstein files as if that's not bad enough. You're going to lie to our faces, tell us it's a Democrat hoax. If you're not going to go with the lie, you're not a real supporter. You're not a real one. Oh, and now, well, here's some MLK files that are a load of shit. Isn't this what you wanted? We're the most transparent administration in history. And you go, fuck you. What do you mean? What a lie. You're lying. You know you're lying. You're lying to our face. You know we know you're lying. You don't even care. You're just giving us the finger and rubbing it in our faces.
Now, you know it's bad when Nick Fuentes passes up an opportunity to dump on a black man. Like, you know it's bad. You know it's when Nick Fuentes don't take your bait to trash black people, you done really gone left. Because he be on his Bernie Mac. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I hate you black bastards. You stink. I hate your black skin. I hate your black pants. I hate black pepper. I hate black keys on the piano. I hate my gums because they black. I hate Whoopi Goldberg's lips. I hate the back of Forrest Whitaker's neck. And most of all, I hate that black-ass Wesley Snipes.
And rest in peace to the great Bernie Mac. I apologize that you had to be associated with Nick Fuentes, but that cop would have loved his channel. I can tell you that right now. All right, what we gonna try next? MLK didn't work.
But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they... Look, he's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like that. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming. So President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton. Crooked is a $3 bill.
You sure you don't want to put Rosie O'Donnell in there? Was Rosie O'Donnell in on it? How about Omarosa? You think Omarosa? She probably had something to do with that. Matter of fact, I think they the ones that sunk the USFL. Why don't we put that in there too? Now you did mention Tulsi, right? You mentioned Tulsi. This Tulsi?
When you're talking about like these Russian troll farms that you're that you mentioned, what is missing from all of the news coverage around this and all of the outrage about how this foreign country is trying to influence our elections, which is wrong and which the American people need to be aware of where this information is coming from, is the fact that and you're saying, why does somebody do that? Well, because this country does want to influence who we're electing, right?
Yes.
Like, we'd rather work with this person. We know that person is not going to be nice to us. The United States has been doing this for a very long time.
Sure.
In countries around the world, both overtly and covertly, through these kinds of disinformation campaigns, not even counting like the outright regime change wars, we're going to physically take you out. And I think it is very hypocritical for us to be discussing this issue as a country without actually being honest about how this goes both ways. So yes, we need to stop these other foreign countries, and Russia's not the only one, there are others, from trying to influence the American people in our elections. We also need to stop doing the same thing in other countries.
Oh, there's always a video. There's always a video. There's always a video. There's always a tweet. And Caroline Leavitt, what you laughing for? Are you laughing at Tulsi? I wouldn't if I was you.
The effort to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell, I know that Todd Blanche mentioned that earlier this week.
The president spoke to this yesterday, and he said he thinks it's an appropriate idea. Kelly.
What is the accountability that you would like to see if this current president is the one who brought the case to the Supreme Court and Chief Justice Roberts made clear in his opinion that a sitting president's responsibilities in office cannot lead to prosecution, immunity? So what is it the President Trump wants regarding President Obama, given that fact? And the special counsel at the time, Durham, when that Supreme Court matter was not in effect, could have charged anyone and did not. So on those 2 points, how do you respond?
Look, the president has made it clear that he wanted these documents to be declassified. He wanted the American people to see the truth, and now he wants those who perpetuated these lies and this scandal to be held accountable. As for what accountability looks like, as the director said, it's in the Department of Justice's hands, and we trust them to move this ball forward.
Well, you would agree President Obama cannot be charged based on that immunity.
Again, I'll leave that to the Department of Justice.
Don't you hate it when your scams mess up your other scams? Don't you hate it? I just talked about this with Byron Donalds, where you got so much conflict of interest, you don't even know how to move forward. Like, damn, we did do that, didn't we? Ah, that's tough. That is tough. Donald Trump. Now, here's the thing. You got Tulsi Gabbard and Caroline Leavitt and the Tim Scotts and people of that nature, all the MLK. But you got all them out here looking crazy in order to try and help you distract attention away from the Epstein files. Now, if you had hollered at all of these people, if you had got them all on board with this big diversion, what do you want to make sure you don't do? Talk about the diversion tactic, right? Like, the number one rule of distraction is don't talk about the That's the number one rule. Yet here you go.
Remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold, hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate, just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly.
You know, I said, could a person possibly act more guilty? I asked that. It was a couple videos. I said, could a person possibly act more? You done admitted to, you know, that was the verbal equivalent of tweeting all caps, stop talking about Epstein. We've had this most incredible 6 months of any president in American history, but all anybody wants to talk about is the Epstein hoax. Thanks for bringing it back up, Trump. That was solid. Now you're doing great. You are doing great. This is so transparent that even Obama brought it up when he bothered to respond, which I didn't even necessarily want him to respond, but he responded, and it wasn't what you wanted. Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. Patrick Rodenbush, a spokesman for Mr. Obama, said in a statement in response to Trump's claims, but these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. I would also add that the drawing, which was found in the birthday book that was sent to Mr. Epstein, was rudimentary and something you would expect to find on a 3-year-old parent's fridge. Let me translate that statement for you, Trump.
Go fuck yourself!
And how about this part? For those dyed-in-the-wool, never woke MAGAs that are willing to go along with this flimsily constructed distraction mechanism that you have tried to construct over the course of the last week and change. For those foolish enough to go along with that, those are the people you're going to have to deal with in a couple weeks, a couple months, who knows, when you don't do anything because you can't and you have nothing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're going to need a distraction from the Obama thing.
When you use language like treason, and I mean, go into my social media feeds, because I've been trying to tell the truth about this ever since Tulsi put out this staggeringly disprovable and instantly disprovable lie. When you start using the kind of language, the language of treason and of somebody being a traitor, you know, some tiny percentage of the population is just crazy enough to decide that they need to do something about it. And again, it's what happened where I am standing right now on January 6, 2021. The statements of a president have some power. And by the way, 4 weeks from now, or 5 weeks from now, or 6 weeks from now, we all need to ask the question, and I will certainly ask the question, which is, okay, the former president is a traitor. Where is the Department of Justice indictment? Where is the prosecution of Barack Obama? But it will be Epstein all over again, because 4 or 5 weeks from now, there will, of course, be no prosecution of a Barack Obama, because there's not a court in the land that would do anything other than laugh the DOJ and the prosecutors out of the room. But by then we'll be on to the next bizarro conspiracy theory to try to distract from the fact that no, they're not going to prosecute Barack Obama.
This would be like calling out sick to work because your house burned down. The day before you having a work party at your house. That's what you're trying to sell? Trump's throwing ketchup at the wall to distract from the Epstein debacle. A, wants the name of the Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Guardians changed back to their native names. B, posted fake AI photos of Obama in prison. C, falsely claimed MAGA support increased 95%. This man is not that desperate that he brought the Commanders into it. This man brought the Commanders into it in his desperation. Let me tell you, I have been a diehard fan of the burgundy and gold my entire life, since the moment I saw John Riggins barreling through the middle. I have been a diehard fan. I cried when in the Super Bowl against the Broncos, when they fell behind 10-0 and Doug Williams went over backwards, his cleat got caught, I cried. Stop. Why y'all laughing? I wasn't even double digits yet. Cut me some slack. I have been a fan of that franchise my entire life. And even I don't care about this. The Washington whatevers should immediately change their name back to the Washington Redskins football team. There's a big clamoring for this. Likewise, the Cleveland Indians, one of the 6 original baseball teams with a storied past. Our great Indian people in massive numbers want this to happen. Their heritage and prestige is systematically being taken away from them. Times are different now than they were 3 or 4 years ago. We are a country of passion and common sense. Owners get it done. This was posted by Scott Turner, who said, I played in the NFL and was drafted by the Washington Redskins, not the Washington football team or the Commanders. So as I just previously stated, I have been a diehard fan of that team my entire life. And I had no idea they drafted Scott Turner. Don't nobody, come on, man. What you doing? What you doing? The fact you gotta remind people of that is its own shame. Now that's not to say Commanders isn't trash. Okay, multiple things can be true. I cannot care about this and see through the distraction and also admit that name is pure garbage. If I'm not, there is only one worse name in the entire sports world than Washington Commanders. And it's Washington Wizards. We have the 2 worst names in sports in this town. That's a fact. But you know what? I'm willing to let that ride. So we get these files. To which my man Tom Joseph says, everybody look over here. I'm going to extort the Washington Commanders and Cleveland Indians to distract from all my crimes detailed in the Jeffrey evidence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The craziest thing about the Washington Commanders / Redskins name change noise is that Donald Trump is in the Jeffrey files. Breaking: in response to presidential pressure, Washington Commanders unveil new team name and logo. Now here's a question I have for the class. We got MLK, we got Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. You heard that. Never miss an opportunity to yell Hussein. MLK, Barack Hussein Obama, and the Washington Commanders name change. What do those things have in common? What do those things have in common? I know, Doug Williams. You just said Doug Williams because Doug Williams played for the Redskins, and like Obama was the first black president. Doug Williams was the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. What's the last? It was MLK. Because Doug Williams played for the Tampa Bay, and MLK loved creamsicles. Yeah, he loved creamsicles. Matter of fact, that's where he came up with the idea for the "I Have a Dream" speech. He was all out walking, eating creamsicles. That was in the files. That was just released. So let me get this straight. You want to sully the name of a civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You want to sully the legacy of the first black president, Barack Hussein Obama. And then you want to go out of left field and make sure that anybody that was satiated by getting rid of an ethnic group as a moniker of a football team felt sufficiently comfortable that they were free to be politically incorrect. You just are like, what can I possibly do to distract away from just be racist? I could just be racist. They love that. They give them candy. It's like giving candy to MAGA. It's just freedom to be racist. I just it's just like giving candy to MAGA. And by the way, MAGA, not to be ignored in all of this, because you guys love to deny that you are in fact racist. Oh, we're not all like that. Well, he certainly thinks so. He certainly thinks so. Now, doesn't he? And I must say, going to these lengths is bad enough. But going to these lengths for nothing, I call that Lisa Murkowski. That's that Lisa Murkowski, where you embarrass yourself and sully your legacy for for nothing, and now everybody knows about it, because it ain't work. Not for a news cycle.
Katie, I think that this is a profound tell on the part of Donald Trump. This is a real understanding of what scares him. Donald Trump is not a brilliant man, but he has a certain degree of feral cunning about things that endanger him personally or legally or politically. He has a keen sense of those things. He senses that the Epstein matter is so devastating that if it fully comes to light, that it was so devastating that he sent 1,000 FBI agents to scrape through every single piece of information that the DOJ had to ensure his name, that they knew everything that was there. This is a guy who acts guilty, sounds guilty, looks guilty, smells guilty. And all these distractions he's trying to throw out there, the important part about this Russia investigation, this accusation about Barack Obama and Jim Comey and all these things, is not anything to do with Russia. It's to do with Jeffrey Epstein. This is all. Epstein has become the thing that is consuming his brain. It is wearing him down. He looks and sounds, as you point out correctly, much different about this. It's not swagger. It's not good different. It is scared. This guy is terrified of what's in those, the knowledge that could be in this stuff. And look, I don't know that or think that there are videos of Donald Trump and girls or whatever it is, but he also wished Ghislaine Maxwell well when she got sentenced. Who says that about a notorious trafficker? Who says that about a person who got sentenced for 20 years in prison for trafficking girls? This is there's a missing point here, a missing gear in this machine with Donald Trump's relationship with Epstein. It has thrown his administration completely off course, and it's thrown him completely off his game.
And no, it's not just the pundits either. Your own people. It be your own people.
And that, I think, is kind of the interesting sort of nugget in what's going on here. You see this 50% dissatisfied, and let's break it down by party. Okay, Epstein case, amount of info released. Look at this. You get 43% of lean GOP, that's Republicans and independents who lean towards the Republican Party, who are dissatisfied. Look at this. Just 4% satisfied? My goodness gracious. When you only have 4% that is with Donald Trump on a particular issue, that is ridiculously low. I've never seen anything quite like it. How about lean Democrat? 60% dissatisfied. Compare that to 3% who are satisfied. Again, 4%, 3% Republican, Democrat. You rarely ever see this type of agreement. Now, of course, there's another divide in American politics, one that has increased over the past few decades, and that is whites with a college degree, whites without a college degree. But in this particular case, we see agreement. What are we talking about? This Epstein case, amount of info released, dissatisfied, 55% of white college graduates and 53% of white non-college graduates, Donald Trump's historic base, yet the majority are dissatisfied.
Now, here's why I really wanted to make this particular video. I did need to get into MLK and Obama and the commanders and all of that, but here's the thing that people actually do forget, is that the Epstein thing wasn't necessarily anything that people called for. There wasn't a clamoring for him to finally release the files before they decided to go out and release a statement that there were no names and there was no conspiracy. All that. No. This started as a distraction.
Hi, Mr. President. So I wanted to update you. It turns out that nobody is changing the subject from the Epstein files, despite all of our distraction efforts. I feel like we've tried everything. And the ironic part is, you had Pam Bondi put out the Epstein statement to distract from your administration's failure during the Texas floods. Yeah, that really backfired. It looks like your distraction needs a distraction. Yeah, we tried putting sugar back in Coca-Cola, a bunch of random tariff stuff, ICE dramatically marching through a park in LA. We also had you crash the FIFA World Cup, which actually made you look more like a creeper. We even had you announce a new medical diagnosis, and it turns out either nobody cared or they were really excited about it. And now you're back to Russian collusion. You're literally rebooting an old scandal like a Marvel franchise. Sir, I'm afraid we're all out of smoke bombs, unless you want to fake another Butler incident or invite Stormy Daniels over for dinner. I was just joking. You know what? I will get Stormy's people on the phone right now. I need my job, I need my job, I need my job.
That's right. Your distraction needs a distraction. Back to the original subject at hand. Ah, yes, those floods. And that money that they didn't use to upgrade their system, not to mention the Trump administration's effect on our ability to be prepared for such things.
There's absolutely nothing Republicans could have done differently to help save lives. Oh, really? Because Kerr County was literally given $10 million by the Biden administration to help upgrade their flood warning system, and they said no. Instead, you know what Kerr County did? They called it a communist agenda and rerouted the money to the sheriff's department. $7 million went to upgrade their comm system, which only cost $5 million, and then they gave $1 million to a retired deputy named Jeffrey Wendling to oversee it. Republicans want to lecture us on wasteful spending?
Well, I guess we can tell those folks not to worry down in Texas. They can just throw dirt on Barack Obama and MLK and the commanders. They could just do the Coke thing. They could just, they can eat that hate. That is something that will satiate them. Just give them racism. Just send it down. We gonna take the money. Yeah, we gonna take the money. Yeah, we're just gonna put racism back in the jar that the money used to be in. Yeah, this is about the worst attempt at distraction anybody has ever seen, and called out your own base for exactly how you think of them. And it didn't work for not even one news cycle. Not only are they still on Epstein, we gonna get back to the floods. And as somebody noted in my live this past week, the floods thing happened after Iran, because we ain't even got to the bottom of that now, did we? Oh yeah, all the chickens coming home. All the chickens coming home. And no, we will not be distracted. Say what now?
You've got to be kidding me. That was President Trump's reaction and response when he spoke with CNN and was asked about these newly uncovered photos and video, offering a new look at his past ties to Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to show you some of them. A photo from 1993 showing Epstein at Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. Epstein's attendance at the wedding has not been widely known until now. Another photo, this one from 1993, also shows Trump with his children next to Jeffrey Epstein at a restaurant opening. And CNN's K-File also uncovered this video showing Trump and Epstein in 1999 at a Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think they keep this going through the recess. Just drips and drabs, drips and drabs. Kind of like what Nick Fuentes was saying about your racism online. You don't need to flood it all at once. Just pace yourself. Pace yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the way out. And be sure to send me an email at admin@reesewaters.com if you have any suggestions for content.
Stop it. Get some help.
And so many of you have responded when I put out the call to action for people that were interested in participating in my lives. I said, if you have something you would like to share with the class, you're working on a project, or you're a member of a group that you feel like would be of interest to this community. City boy, city boy. I want to hear from you, because I got room on my Tuesday night lives. That's Tuesday at 8 p.m., by the way, every single week. I am looking for more. So if you would like to share with the class, go ahead and hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com. While you're at it, those of you that have subscribed to my other channel, Way of Waters, I first want to send out a very solemn my bad. It's been a minute, and I know that it's been a minute.
It's been 84 years.
I have let perfection stand in the way of progress, which would actually be a really good video. I should probably record that as soon as I'm finished here. But in me trying to conceptualize exactly what I want to do there and what it's going to look like, I've been stuck in neutral, and I haven't been putting out all of the stuff that's been floating in my head that I desperately want to share. Well, I'm going to stop that.
Nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it?
And I think the way to do so is by working with other people. So I'm putting the call out to you guys. Again, that channel at Way of Waters is really about meditation and mindfulness and protecting your peace. If that's of interest to you, and especially if you have experience in that field or expertise you would like to impart, I'm looking for potential guests as well as even partners on that particular channel. So check out Way of Waters and hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com. And in the meantime, make sure you protect your peace. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Police! 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 Help! Police! Help!
I got that from Springer, didn't I? To think, all the things that I would have taken from Jerry Springer. Because that certainly wasn't what I watched it for.
What street corner can I find you on?